Hi everyone, it's Ashton Cartwright here from PaidAuthor.com. Today I'm going to be going through Amazon Marketing Services advertising options for Kindle authors at the moment. It's a reasonably new service. Up until recently they only had it in the beta version, so you didn't have access to the full range of things that we do now. First off, I'll show you the products I'm advertising. I've got 6 active campaigns currently. The first one is for this book, which is a non-fiction called How to Be an Author, 36 Real Authors Talk, Writing and Publishing, which is a book I put together with a whole bunch of my author friends, describing where we see the industry going, what's worked for us, what hasn't worked for us, things like that. And the second one is a non-fiction called The Last Airship, which is this one here, by Christopher Cartwright, which is my little brother, whose books I publish. Now there's 2 types of advertising options that Amazon has for authors at the moment, and they both have remarkably similar names. So one is called a sponsored product type of advertisement, and the other is a product display advertisement. Now a product display advertisement is when you select a group of products. For example, you might select every book by a famous author, say Stephen King or Clive Cussler, something like that, and then your book will show up, let me see here, will show up in this section down here. So sponsored products related to this item. So we've targeted, so if someone had targeted, for example, books by Christopher Cartwright, and they've said we want to target The Last Airship, we want to target The Mahogany Ship, we want to target Atlanta Stolen, all these books by Christopher Cartwright, then their books might be popping up down here. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of books popping up down here anyway. So that is called this one. That's a product display. So your advertisement will display on the specific products you've selected. The other option is called sponsored products, and they have remarkably similar names just to make things more confusing. Sponsored products means you'll select a group of search terms, for example, books on publishing or writing or something like that, which is what I've done here for How to Be an Author. And if you do that, your book will show up in the search field. So here I've searched How to Be a Writer. My book comes up there organically, but down the bottom you'll see the last 2 for this search term are sponsored products. Sponsored. So these 2 books wouldn't normally be showing up under this search term, How to Be a Writer. But because people have got this one, the sponsored products advertisement, now that I've searched How to Be a Writer up here, the bottom of the front page there will have their books displayed. Now for depending on what your book is about, you may find it's more successful to get your ad shown on the search page, or if you have a book that's specifically to do with a famous author or something like that, you may find the other options better for you. I'll go through the results I've had for these ones here. So I've actually got 3 ads running for The Last Airship, which is a non-fiction, 1, 2, 3, targeting different things, and I've got 3 ads running for the How to Be an Author book. So the product display ones, I'll just go through these, what all these things across the top mean firstly. Start date, unsurprisingly, is when you started that particular promotion. End date is if you've selected to spend a total amount on your campaign. You might say you want to spend no more than $20 on Amazon ads over a certain time frame, so you put that time frame in there. I've selected $300 there. It sounds like a lot, but in actuality I knew that it wouldn't use anywhere near that amount in the time frame. In fact, as you can see, we've actually only spent about $3.30 on this one ad and 36 cents on the other one. So there wasn't, for myself, there was never any chance of actually spending that much money. Having said that though, when you do set one up for the first time, if you picking a start date and an end date, pick a much smaller number, pick $20 or $30, whatever you can afford. If it doesn't work, you've only lost $20 or $30 as opposed to $300. So this ad here says Matthew Riley books. Matthew Riley is another action adventure author who writes similar stories to what my brother does with The Last Airship. So we targeted all the books by him as a product display. So we've targeted, these are his main books, Matthew Riley, and we thought people who'd liked these books would also like The Last Airship. So often on these pages, our advertisement will show up. Now it won't show up every time because a lot of it has to do with how many other authors are bidding for the same product display, and also obviously how many people are visiting these pages by that author. If no one's going to those pages, no one's going to see our ads. And likewise, if lots of people go to the pages, but there's 100 authors all trying to advertise on it, it gets split between all the authors and makes it a bit harder to get your ads displayed. Okay, so now what I did for this one is a CPC bid, which is a cost per click. That's the amount of money you're willing to pay each time someone visits a Matthew Riley page, sees your ad and clicks on it. I set it pretty low at 10 cents, which is probably why we're not getting a huge amount of displays. Like as you can see here, for this ad we've had a total of 948 impressions, which basically means each time your ad is shown, that's one impression. And we've had a total of 6 clicks out of 900, which is reasonable. Far from amazing, but also not too bad. And so then you'll see here the CTR, which stands for click-through rate, which is the percentage of times people will click on an ad that they see. In total, we spent 36 cents for 6 clicks, which means it cost us 6 cents per click. The ACPC you'll see here is average cost per click. Because I'm bidding a maximum of 10 cents, I don't always pay 10 cents. Sometimes there might be very few people advertising on that page, so if someone clicks it, I might only be charged 5 cents. And other times, if there's lots of people advertising and someone clicks it, I might be charged 10 cents. It's Amazon will show basically whoever is willing to pay the most, they will generally show that person's ads the most, unless, and this is where they have their own internal algorithm that calculates these things, unless someone is paying 10 cents per click and someone else is paying 11, but the person showing 10 cents per click is getting ads clicked on 5 times as fast. Then Amazon will know, not only will they make more money that way, but the readers themselves who are looking for a new book are much more likely to purchase something if they're clicking on one ad 5 times more than the other. Don't dwell on that aspect of it too much. Amazon has its own internal way of working these things, and really we're only ever going to get rough information on how it works. So here we've seen total estimated sales for those 6 clicks is 0. So of the 6 people who went to The Last Airship after clicking on an ad, none of them purchased it. So that's obviously not super successful. So I'll just pull up the ones. This is a search, just a search box here. We've tried some other things in previous years, and we're not using them anymore, so I'm just going to show the ones that we're actually running currently. So that was for targeting Matthew Riley as a product display. Didn't do very good. The other one was a much broader search term. We targeted people for a product display based on action adventure in an interests category. So instead of picking specific books to display our add-on, we just selected the interest, which was literature and fiction, the subcategory action and adventure. Again, we did a maximum bid of 10 cents per click, and you'll see here we got a lot more impressions, 5,600 impressions, so our ad was shown 5,600 times. We got a total of 33 clicks, click-through rate about 6%, similar to the other one, but because we got displayed our ads so many more times with this one, we ended up with a higher number here. This here is the details page view. It's when people click on the ad, it takes them to your details page. This number should always be the same as this number. I can't think of any reason why it wouldn't be, or why they'd even bother to have this there, but maybe it's something they're planning on introducing more options to later on. So in total for this product display ad, we spent $3.30 and we sold $2.99 worth. So that's one Kindle book. Now for a Kindle book we get 70%, so that's $2 profit we made after spending $3.30. So on this ad we actually lost a small amount of money. Always keep in mind that the estimated sales here, that's not your royalty, that's the total amount of sales. And if, for example, they've purchased a paperback instead of a digital version, so if they went here and ended up clicking on buying the paperback, you'll find that you'll have a much higher number here, even though your royalty might be very small. I think we only make about $3 for a $15 paperback. So that can throw your results out. A lot of authors I've spoken to have seen this number and assumed that was their royalty, and so and it'd be very easy for them to judge whether or not their marketing campaign was successful or not successful if this number showed the royalty amount. But unfortunately that's not the case, so we do have to work a little bit harder to understand the interactions here. Alright, so I'll show you some of the more successful ones. The last promotion we did for the fiction book was this one, a sponsored product. So we selected our own keywords. Oh no, we didn't select our own keywords. When you're selecting keywords, you can either put them all in manually, or you can just allow Amazon to show your ad in the search section. So this is for the author book. Amazon will put in its own keywords that it thinks your book will do well for. And that's what we tried here with the last airship. We said, no, put it in for whatever you think is going to work, Amazon, and see what happens. And as you can see, we've had 360,000 impressions for whatever keywords Amazon has selected for us, 221 clicks, which an average cost per click of just 4 cents, which is quite low. And we spent a total of $8.68. Now for that $8.68 that we've spent, we've actually made $26.95 in sales. Unfortunately, there's no way of knowing whether those were one paperback and 4 Kindles, or if it was 7 Kindles. We're not sure. So that means we don't know exactly how much of a royalty we get from this amount. But I know we get about 30% for the paperback sales, something like that, maybe 25%. And for a Kindle sale, we get 70%. So we're going to be very conservative here and assume we're about a third of this is profit. So a third of that is about $9, which is matching the spend. So if we run this ad forever, we're not going to be losing money. We may not be making a whole lot, unless all of these sales were for the Kindle version, in which case we're getting 70% of that, which is about $18. So we're laughing, we're making a great return. But realistically, we don't know if it's paperback sales or not. So it's always best to be conservative in your judgments about these. But if you're not losing money, and at worst case we're getting about $9 for this, we're not losing money, so the extra sales are helping push us up the rankings as well. So I'm happy to run this ad forever. Now, as you can see, this ad is different. This is the automatic targeting for sponsored products. So this is where the ad's going to show up in the search field rather than on specific product pages. And that's just been way more successful for the last airship than the ones that we had as the product display ads coming up for specific related books. People who are searching on the Amazon page here are looking for something so they can buy it. So I suspect what's happening is if they're flicking through here and they see our book coming up in this sponsored section, then they're clicking on it and then choosing to buy it. Whereas if they're visiting a page for, say they're visiting a page for another book, they're not necessarily looking at the other books available because they're most interested in the book they're actually looking at. Which is why I suspect we'll find as time goes on that the sponsored products, which is where it comes up in the search, is just going to be much better value for authors in the long run. Now these are the 3 ads I've been running for the 36 authors compilation here. So I'm running 3 and they're all sponsored products. And for these we've had a much better result than we have for the fiction books. This one here is with automatic targeting, the same as we were for the sponsored products. Oddly, hasn't done very good. 8,000 displays, 0 clicks. So the auto targeting for this publishing based book probably isn't very sophisticated, unfortunately. Here, however, we set up manual keywords for this book, and as you can see, I've got the daily budget set to $50. Even though that sounds like a lot, we've actually only been spending 10 cents a day because we're bidding such a low amount. On this one we're only bidding a maximum of 10 cents per click, and publishing is a very competitive advertising market, so I suspect a lot of other authors are bidding a great deal higher than that, so they're not displaying our ads all that much. Here it says we've got 30,000 displays, which is fine still. We've had 18 clicks. Average cost per click, 6 cents. So total cost of $1.04 so far. And of that, we've sold $29.98 worth. Now this is easy to work out that we've sold 2 paperbacks, because the paperbacks are $14.99 and the Kindle's $2.97, it's usually $2.99. So selling 2 paperbacks would bring us up to this amount here. I think we make about $4 profit per paperback. So it's easy to see that having spent $1 on advertising and made a total of $8, this is a very profitable setup that we've got here, even though it's not going to make us $1 million because we're only displaying, well, 30,000 is quite a lot to display. But we can't spend our full $50 a day because it's so competitive. The only way we could spend more money is to increase our bid. I don't know if I've shown you this yet, which is advertising cost of sales. This is a really good number to be aware of. So for the income we've made, total sales, our cost of sales was just 3.4%. So we've spent $1 and made $30 in sales. In actuality, we've made $8 profit, but this is based on the gross sales. And that's really low. It's hard to think of a situation where if you're spending only 3% of the money you're making, that you're not getting a really good return. So for example, this one back here has 110%. So we've made 1 sale at $2.99. Cost is $3.30. So our cost of sales is 110%, so more than we're actually generating, which means this is an ad that will probably stop running because it's just not working out. So what I did was I found that this one was being successful when we were bidding 10 cents, and I'll go into the keywords in a moment. So I thought, well, I'd try it with a more expensive bid. So I did the same advertisement here, sponsored products, which will show up exactly like these ads here, but with obviously the author book here. So it'll be this book showing up for these sorts of search terms, how to be a writer, books on writing, things like that, and they'll show up down the bottom of the search page. So when I increased the bid to 25 cents, we got almost twice as many impressions, so it's being shown to a whole lot more people. More clicks, which makes sense since it's being shown to more people. And our cost here went up. Even though I'm bidding up to 25 cents, the average cost per click is only 11 cents, because a lot of times I might be making 2 clicks that they charge me 25 cents for, and then 2 more clicks that they only charge me 6 cents for. So the average is still nowhere near my maximum of 25 cents. For this campaign, because we were bidding a bit more, we got more impressions and therefore more clicks, and therefore it charged us a little bit more. So we spent a total of $12.56 in the last 2 weeks on this campaign, and we had total sales of $110 for an average cost of sale of about 11%. Now again, I'd expect a lot of these to be paperback sales, but even on paperbacks for this particular book, I think I worked it out before that it was about $4. I'd have to double check what the CreateSpace royalty is for this. But even if we say it's just under a third at $4, that means at worst case scenario, 30% of this is profit. If all the sales were actually from Kindle, and this was $110 worth of Kindle sales, we'd be making, say, $73 in profit, because we're getting 70% commission instead of approximately 30. But we're going to be conservative, and we're going to assume that all these sales are paperbacks, and so our actual profit would be 30% of this, which is about $33, $34. If we're making $33 or $34 for a cost of $12, we're laughing. We're basically tripling our advertising money. Now all these campaigns here are sponsored products, so it's the search term only. They won't show up on author pages unless Amazon thinks there's a good reason to do that. But what we're really aiming for is keyword matching. So one situation where you will have your book show up, for example, that this sponsored product's related to this item, even if you're not selecting this item specifically, is if people ended up on this page by searching a particular keyword, then your book may still show up there, because these people are still looking for a particular keyword, and even if they're no longer on the search page, they're still sort of linked in to that particular keyword. So your book can show up in this section if those keywords have been used. Alright, so what keywords did I use? I'll show you this one here. I actually used over 100 keywords for this one, based on the advice of some of my other author friends who've been getting good results from using a large number of keywords. Because when you click on your campaign, you can go into it and see the results of each individual keyword. It helps you find the things that are working for you. For example, I thought things like author advice would be great for me, but as you can see, I'm bidding 25 cents. We've only had one time that the ad's even been shown for that particular keyword. So to get that shown more, I'd either have to increase my bid, which I'm not really interested in doing, or it may just be that that particular search term doesn't get a lot of searches on Amazon. And if I didn't have access to this internal information, I wouldn't have even known that. But because I did so many different keywords, it gives me a real good look at which ones are working, which ones aren't working at all. Things like this, books about editing, because our book's obviously about the whole publishing process, and a lot of that is the editing process. 0 displays. This has been running 2 weeks, and not a single time has Amazon shown my ad to someone searching for books about editing. So again, either no one's searching for books about editing, which is unlikely, or the other authors with books about editing are bidding much more than I am. So they might be bidding 50 cents or $1. So we can go through here. Books about writing was only showed to one person. sorry, it was only clicked on by one person and was shown 85 times. These are the stats up top. So impressions, which is the number of times the ad was shown, clicks, average cost per click, total spend, gross sales, and the cost of sales as a percentage. So I can go through here and see where my sales actually came in. Here, editing, we've got a lot of displays, a lot of impressions, 3,000, but only one person clicked on them, and they didn't end up buying the book. So editing may not be something that my book is drawing the attention of people searching for that topic. Here, it's gifts for writers. Now we are in December, so you'd expect gifts to be a competitive keyword, and for whatever reason, gift for writers, they were happy to display our book a lot of times. So 23,000 times they displayed our ad over the last 2 weeks when people search for gifts for writers. 86 clicks, which is a high percentage of clicks. We spent a total of $7.70, and we got $92 worth of sales. So that's one, at least in December, that's obviously quite good for this particular book. You'd expect a lot of those to be paperback sales, obviously, because it's unlikely people searching for gifts for writers are going to get them a Kindle book. There's one here, how to become a writer, which is the exact topic of our book. So it's a very, very close match. People searching this will definitely be interested in our book. It only got a very low number of displays, only 142 displays, one click, and it cost us 18 cents for that click, but $17.98 is the amount of sales that one click generated, which is unbelievable. That means he or she must have purchased not only the paperback, but also the Kindle version of the book, which is just phenomenal. So this may actually be a keyword that's worth increasing my bid. It's hard to tell from a single click, obviously, but it may be worth increasing the bid to say 50 cents because it so directly matches what the person's looking for. And that means the chances of them buying the book are a lot higher. So you can invest a little bit more money in that situation. Again, this is one with pretty high click-through rate. How to get published, another keyword here. It was only shown 500 times, but we had 3 people click on it during that time frame. And a lot of these are so competitive that our ads, even bidding 25 cents, weren't even shown a single time in the last 2 weeks. So for these topics, like how to make a profit writing, how to make a living from publishing, how to get your manuscript published, these things are either not being searched at all, which is unlikely, or much more likely the other authors who are bidding on these keywords are bidding a great deal more than I'm willing to bid. And this is why it's so important to do so many. As you can see, I've got lots and lots of keywords here with various results. A lot of times you won't know what's going to work until you try it out. And this is one thing Amazon's doing really good. When you click on your ad and it pulls up all these details, you can see almost immediately which ones are working, the ones that are giving you impressions and sales, and which ones are having literally no effect. Like, not a single person has clicked on us for book writing because that keyword term is obviously so competitive that they haven't even bothered showing our ad even one time at a bid of 25 cents. If, for example, I wanted to adjust the prices on any of these now, you can just select it, put in a new price, and hit save, and then it'll start bidding more for that particular keyword. Overall, it's and if some of these are showing that they're not successful at all, you can just select here and pause bidding on that particular thing. So changes in the publishing industry, not a single person has clicked on it, so I don't need to keep trying to bid on that keyword. Although, since no one's displayed it, there's probably no point in pausing it anyway. We'll leave it there just in case the market shifts slightly and people bid less on it, and then maybe I'll get through there. Anyway, I hope that's been of some level of use to you. It's still very early days for this sort of advertising, and I suspect over the next few months there'll be big improvements on how we authors understand what works and what doesn't, and also the differences between advertising for fiction books or advertising for non-fiction books. One last bit of advice I would definitely give is, before you start investing money in an advertising thing like Amazon ads, make sure you have both a paperback and an ebook available, because as you can see here, sometimes people will buy both of them for this particular question, how to become a writer. This particular person bought the ebook and the Kindle and the paperback version. Even though that's uncommon, you still want to give people the option of buying either, because here, gifts for writers, these must all be paperback. That's just what these sales were. Whereas some of the other things, I know because some of the sales are coming in at just $2.99, that can't be a paperback, must be a digital version. So you basically have twice the options of selling something to a reader who's found you by one of these keywords. Anyway, my name's Ashton Cartwright. I'm from PaidAuthor.com. Thanks for dropping in, and I'll be talking to you soon.